Once Human has a crazy amount of subsystems when it comes to player power. Deviations are paranormal anomalies that you, as a metahuman, are able to converse with and borrow their extremely powerful abilities. This video is designed to help you understand combat deviations, where to get them, and what each one does. Crafting and gathering deviations will be covered in another video. Throughout gameplay, you will obtain deviations from various activities. The first way to acquire them is by opening specific containers and having them directly put into your inventory. Some examples are these energy donuts at the end of silos and these securement units found in towns. The second way is completing activities that make them appear as a floating bubble for you to secure. This happens with monolith bosses or even out in the wild. The chance to secure them is based on the deviation's level. However, you can increase the chance by equipping higher tier gloves and with select food buffs. The number of attempts is also dependent on the level of the deviation, with them fleeing if you fail repeatedly. I'll explain how to find each deviation later in the video. Once you've acquired a deviation, to use them, you have to stick them into a securement unit in your territory. For combat deviations, you can only be synchronized with one at a time. Once synchronized, they will impart 2 special abilities, unique to each deviation. When obtaining a deviation, they drop with varying skill and activity ratings between 1 and 5. Skill rating is generally linked to the damage dealt directly by the deviation, as well as increasing values for buffs and debuffs that they provide. Activity rating is generally linked to the recovery rate of deviation power and mood stats. Deviation power is essentially the amount of time that they can be active and is also used for certain abilities, whereas mood is generally more of a stat catered to the crafting and gathering deviations, mostly affecting their outputs. You can additionally boost the recovery rate by making the deviation more comfortable in their securement unit. Each deviation has different conditions for this. Most involve placing territory objects nearby, such as colored lights, a fridge or furnace to change their temperature, hooking the unit up to your electrical system, and various other things. The last portion to understand is traits. These are passive abilities that either alter the deviation stats or your characters. There is a humongous list of possible traits, with some being positive and others being negative. Some are unique to the deviation's category or even to the type of deviation itself. The list is so massive that I just can't possibly go over all of them in this video. My 5 favorite ones for combat deviations are Psychic Kid, giving the player 5% extra status damage, Crack Shot, giving the player 5% extra weapon damage, Growing Pains 3 for 50% increased deviant power, 2-shift system for max carry capacity during the day and 12% move speed at night, and Upper Hand, which converts all of its mood into deviant power when it runs out. Deviations also come in special variant versions where they have different colors and unique traits. These come from special events, Visional Wheel scenario augmentations, and as rare drop chances, which are commonly referred to as Shinies by the player base. As special events and Visional Wheel variants are time limited, I will not be covering those versions in this video, but I will cover the Shinies that currently exist in the base game. Now that you know all about how combat deviations work, it's time to learn about each one individually. But please note that the locations and conditions to obtain each have updated multiple times since the launch of the game. So this is based on my most recent confirmed knowledge. If anything changes, I will update you in a pinned comment after confirming. The securement units in town and some settlements appear to be capable of dropping almost any deviation. I've even gotten Shinies from them, so make sure you hit them up at least once a day for some free deviations. It's random what you get, so it's been kind of difficult to figure out the exact limitations on them. The Butterfly's Emissary has a passive auto attack function and a target designation ability. When the butterfly attacks an enemy in either mode, it will mark the enemy's weak spots and debuff them to take additional weak spot damage for 5 seconds. This is a huge 40% damage increase at level 5 skill rating. The butterfly is obtained at the very beginning of the game when Mitsuko provides you with one. Otherwise, they can be found as a bubble in Rosetta facilities. And they have 2 shiny variants that have a chance to spawn. By the Wind can be activated to create a float zone that will launch you and nearby players into the air. The second action allows you to aim and toss her to a specific location to make that float zone there. While active, she will give you a 20% move speed increase, an increased jump height, and you become immune to the stumble stagger animation and fall damage. These stats are not affected by skill rating. She is obtainable from Prime Wars in the PvE Manibus scenario, and is confirmed from settlement securement units in both PvE and PvP. She has a special variant called the Radiant One, which can be obtained as part of the Prismverse scenario faction PvP, or for everyone through the scenario shop for Mitsuko marks. Dr. Teddy can be activated to follow you around and heal nearby damaged players. At level 5 skill rating, this is 12% of max HP for each poke. He will also revive downed players, including you if you go down while he is active. The second ability allows you to throw Dr. Teddy. If he collides with a player, it will heal them for 50% of their max HP and immediately revive them if they are downed. The Doctor is obtainable from the Theta Securement Silo Hidden Room on PvP servers, but has been found in the settlement securement units in both PvE and PvP. Enchanting Void can be activated in Combat Assist mode to attach to the player as a kitten. While attached, they will provide the player with 10% increased move speed when holding a melee weapon and cause them to heal for 10% of their max HP with each melee attack that hits an enemy. Alternatively, you can use the other ability to transform the cat into a panther and throw it to attack enemies. Any enemy hit by the panther is debuffed to take double damage from melee attacks for 20 seconds. These stats are not affected by skill rating, but the panther's direct damage is. Enchanting Void can be obtained from Theta Securement Silo's Hidden Room on PvE servers, but has also been found in the settlement securement units in both PvE and PvP. The Festering Gel can be activated to deploy a Twinkie-shaped shelter that creates an AoE that heals health and sanity for players nearby every second. At level 5 skill rating, this is for 12% HP and 6% sanity per second. The secondary ability allows you to throw the gel to a distant location where he will set up the same shelter. The Twinkie is obtainable by defeating the Ravenous Hunter boss at Monolith of Greed and has 2 shiny variants. Grumpy Bulb can be activated to taunt nearby enemies to attack it. Its secondary option is supposed to deal AoE status damage when thrown and then taunt nearby enemies. However, the damage function has really never worked for me, and overall it's one of the least used combat deviations in the game. To obtain one, you have to grow onions, and there is a chance that a deviated onion will be a Grumpy Bulb. The main reason Grumpy Bulb is barely used is because of the far superior Lonewolf's Whisper. The wolf can be activated with either a designate target or auto attack function. Enemies hit by the wolf are taunted and receive a debuff that makes them take additional weapon damage. This is an insane 43.2% weapon damage increase at level 5 skill rating. Additionally, when enemies are defeated, the wolf creates a clone from their corpse. Lonewolf's Whisper can be obtained from defeating the Shadowhound at Monolith of Thirst. Mini Feaster can be set to auto attack or designate a target. When active, he will follow you and summon a tentacle at nearby enemies every couple of seconds. The tentacles smash enemies, and for every tentacle summoned, he increases your status damage. At level 5 skill rating, your status damage is increased by 20% per tentacle with a maximum of 80%. Mini Feasters are obtained as a reward from completing Mist Zones. It's these lollipop looking things. The Mini Wonder can be summoned to attach to the player. Any bullets shot at you within a certain range will be absorbed, protecting you and reloading your current weapon from your ammo reserves. And the secondary ability allows you to attach it to an allied target instead. You can obtain Mini Wonder from a sub-quest for Low in the Blackfell town. Otherwise, you have a chance to obtain them when crafting the Vortex Generator tactical item. Mr. Wish can be summoned to assist you with firearms. He'll shoot at nearby enemies, and you can designate targets for him to shoot and inflict the Bullseye key effect on. Mr. Wish can be obtained from Sigma Securement Silo's Hidden Room in PvP servers, but he's also been found in the settlement securement units in both PvE and PvP. The Polar Jelly can be summoned to repeatedly explode, damaging surrounding enemies and sucking them in. Enemies nearby will be inflicted with a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, this debuff makes them take 36% more frost damage. Additionally, any frost vortexes created near the polar jelly will create ice spikes for additional damage. The second ability allows you to throw the jelly at a target location. The polar jelly can be obtained from the Cargo Scramble event. This happens randomly when the jelly is attached to you during the event. Pyro Dino can be set to auto attack or designate a target. When active, he will use a flame breath on nearby enemies and shoot fireballs at distant enemies. When Pyro hits an enemy, they are inflicted with a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, this makes them take 39.2% more blaze damage. Additionally, if the enemy is affected by burn, his attacks can also cause an explosion on them. Pyro Dino has a chance to be obtained from the Phi Securement Silo's hidden room. Shattered Maiden can be set to auto attack or designate a target. When active, she will attack enemies with a repeated gaze that damages and slows. The slow stacks up and locks the enemy from moving while inflicting a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, this debuff increases the explosion element damage they receive by a whopping 80%. The Shattered Maiden has a chance to drop from refinery workshops, where players put in tickets and fight off deviants in a wave defense for rewards. The Voodoo Doll can be summoned to attach to the player. He redirects half of the damage you would receive to himself. The secondary ability allows you to attach it to another target. If it's an ally, he will share the damage. If it's an enemy, however, it will force the enemy to share part of the damage that you take. Voodoo Dolls can be found in vulture camps, floating around as a bubble. The Zeno-Purifier can be summoned to auto attack or set a designated target. While active, the Samurai teleports around to attack enemies. Additionally, he imparts this ability to the player, allowing you to teleport to enemies when using melee weapons. You can find the Zeno-Purifier specifically when opening weapon crates. The Invincible Sun can be activated to explode every 3 seconds in an AoE, dealing blaze damage and having a 15% chance to inflict burn. When burn is inflicted, it gives Invincible Sun 5% additional damage. Enemies hit by it are also inflicted with a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, the debuff makes them take 40% additional blaze damage. The Invincible Sun is found in the Way of Winter scenario as a drop from Securement Silo Delta's final boss. It can also be dropped when defeating Fire Chaos Weavers. The Snowsprite can be set to auto attack or designate a specific target. The Snowsprite creates ice crystals near the target every 3 seconds. These crystals act the same as the crystals that are made by the Anabasis weapon. When shattered, they explode and deal frost damage to nearby enemies, but the Snowsprite's crystals will also inflict a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, the debuff makes them receive 48% more frost damage. The Snowsprite is found in the Way of Winter scenario, where you can get one from a subquest for low in the Camp Igloo. They also can drop from defeating the Frost Chaos Weavers. The ZapCam can be set to automatically seek enemies. It will teleport to them to deal damage and inflict a debuff. At level 5 skill rating, the debuff causes the target to take 43.2% more weapon damage. The secondary ability attaches ZapCam to your back, and when over the shoulder or aimed down sight, it will lock onto enemies you're shooting at and attack them. The ZapCam is found in the Way of Winter scenario, received as a drop from the Secret Servitor boss in the Tundra Monolith. I hope this guide has helped you become an expert on combat deviations. If it did, make sure to share it with your friends. I have more guides on the way, so make sure to make requests in the comments. I'll put more player power guides on the screen now, and my full guides playlist will be on the right.